Hey guys, welcome back to another Doom of Fools podcast. We have a special guest. He was on before, but it didn't work. We're not talking about it. We got one of the best CDH players in the world, top 4 invitational, a Traxa pilot, Rockside pilot, you name it. We got Nado. What's up, Nado? How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's up? I'm doing good.
I always go to a 10 and then I come down. That's my thing, man.
Yeah.
He's a little quiet, but we'll get him, guys. Today we're gonna do some top 10 action. My first top 10 on the podcast. We're gonna talk about the best top 10 decks we think post ban. And we got some spicy stuff. I know what one is on his, but I don't know. We didn't tell each other, so I'm gonna learn when you guys learn. Before we do all that, let's come down to about an 8. What's your MCG background? When and why Magic? And then when did you get into CDH a little bit, Nado?
Yeah, my background. So I started playing around like 2018, 2019 when a buddy of mine showed me a card game. He's like, "Hey, you want to play this?" And I'm like, "Sure." And he taught me how to like cube, and it was fun. And then around Throne of Eldraine was the first time I actually like saw the competitive side of Magic because we went to pre-release and played in that and did not know what I was doing. I I distinctly remember accidentally cheating all throughout that tournament because I didn't know how cards worked. But
I think we've all been there, buddy. I
yeah,
didn't know what commander damage was for 6 months.
dude, until I played like actual CDH, the entire time I played casual commander, I played with people that are like, we do not play with commander damage. Oh, I'm like, okay,
Commander
sure.
damage is rule 0? What? That's not how that works.
Yeah, and that was an actual adjustment when I started playing CDH. Whenever people had like chonky commanders,
Really?
and I'm like, oh wait, I have to actually care about this.
Right. Yeah, I remember commander tax wasn't a thing. I remember a lot of the stack wasn't a thing. Oh god, good times. We used to attack each other's
Dude,
we used to block for their planeswalkers on purpose.
yeah.
Whatever.
Everyone has that memory of when they discovered split second and they thought it just meant the entire stack resolves. You're just like,
Yeah, I have a few.
I'm gonna cast this and split
I have a
second.
few of
Boom.
those, or like the combat. Okay, I'll respond to your blocker. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that. Do that. It's like, no, that guy still blocks. Stupid. I literally a year in
Yeah.
Magic. So, how'd you get into CDH, and how long have you been playing it?
I got into CDH actually relatively quickly, just because I'm competitive at heart. So I was naturally like wanting to look at more powerful cards. I got on like EDH Rec and saw all the commonly played cards. Looked at the salt list. I was like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
this will
baby.
make them.
My wife had a Turgid.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But I eventually put Marin together, the of Clan Neltoth, I think is her
The
subtitle.
Golgari Queen.
Um, yeah, and I saw people playing like Mind Slicer, and I was just
Ugh.
that made me so happy. I'm like, yeah, no one gets hands, no one has fun. This
What's
is
the
my type
green
of game.
guy? The best card in the deck. 1 green mana. You get him back every
Um,
time. Spore Frog.
oh, Spore Frog,
Oh,
yeah.
that card.
There's a lot of cool synergies with Marin, like
Mhm.
even just Blood Pet,
Yeah.
just a free
Every
counter
turn.
on
Yep.
Marin. So but
Cool.
eventually I started looking for more powerful combos to put in that deck, and I discovered the CDH database, which had a Marin list, and I discovered playing with power and all that jazz. So eventually I moved on from Marin because she was terrible. Like
She's a really good high
actually the
power
worst.
deck.
And then I put together the back then top tier deck of the first sliver.
I thought you were gonna say I was about to throw up.
No. I I remember distinctly reading like Reddit posts where they're talking about how you have to technically go through the loop manually, like you can't shortcut it in tournament. And I was just
Guys,
like,
y'all want me to
I don't
cast my
know
whole
anything about
deck?
this, and I'm just not going to.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
a first sliver deck, and I'm 90% of the time they scoop. I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna go through my whole deck until I get on a breach.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
I remember every time I basically got to the point where when I'm cascading through my deck as first sliver, I just say, I'm going to go until I hit Grand Abolisher. Do you have a response to that? Or
Yeah.
can we just like
Well,
scoop
I
it up?
don't mind playing it, guys, but you guys are gonna get aggravated with me. Yeah.
Yeah. I eventually got really fast at resolving first sliver cast
Yeah,
games.
well, especially with the Grand Abolisher, because it's like flip,
Yeah.
flip, 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 flip. Oh, that's his Oracle. Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah.
flip, 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 flip. Oh, this is my breach. Okay, flip, flip, LED, flip, flip. Okay, now I'll show you a loop. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Atali. I hate people scoop with Atali. Like food chain Atali. No, 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 no. Let me play it out. Come on, no, we're good. Oh, come on. I want to win with your cards. Because you can do some crazy shit with food chain Atali because you can keep responding and keep like get someone's born upon a win and then just keep casting them.
I've seen some crazy loops with Atali.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to just use your opponent's decks, but
The best
then the
yeah.
fun is ripped out of your hands when you find a deterministic loop.
Well, the best one is like when I play like a Kennen deck and you get all the big beaters and then you let them resolve
Yeah.
and then you respond to the other bullshit that you don't even need. Or like you get a Sisei deck and you start doing the Planeswalker line or the untapped or ready stuff with the Sisei. Yeah.
The other day I was playing Timna
Ugh.
Thrasios, and I went to my turn. I had a Smothering Tithe out for most of the
Mhm.
game, and at one point someone time twisted to try and reset the game because everyone's hands was
Mhm.
terrible. And I went to my turn with a ton of cards in hand because I had the Fairy Mastermind and the
Mhm.
Tithe, and I resolved Survival of the Fittest, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go find Grand Abolisher. Now I'm gonna go find Ranger Captain. Now I'm gonna go find Cutsoul. Cast Board upon a
Yep.
win.
Yeah, I talked
Play all three of them.
I talked to a guy, we're gonna talk about it later. I talked to a guy about the deck and spoiler alert, that deck's really good.
It
I feel
is
like the
very
deck has
good.
always been good. Just people were just like, nah, Blue Farm's better, so we're not gonna play this deck. But I don't know when that deck ever got bad. Like that deck's been good, and then now post ban it shows, right?
It's just one of those decks that is good, but had no particular reason to play it.
Right, but it was still
Um,
good though. Like people are, oh my god, it's top 5
yeah.
now, top 10 now. It's like I think it's always been a good deck because some of the guys that kept playing it were still good, but everybody
Mhm.
went off that and went to Blue Farm, and Blue Farm got more popular. So it was like I feel like if half the people stayed in Tim Thrasios, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it is just genuinely too slow of a deck for the old meta.
I, I
By the
don't know, man.
time Timna Thrasios is really putting all its engines together and having enough mana to keep up with
I don't
everyone,
know.
the game was usually over. And now the meta has slowed down pretty significantly after the
Yeah,
bans.
but I mean that one guy, he consistently top 16 with that deck, but he was on like the stacks package, the no rods, the
Yeah.
collector oofs, and people didn't know what to do, right? So
And it's still 4 color pile. You can do what you want with it, and you'll if you're a good pilot, you're probably gonna
yeah,
do well
yeah,
with
we're gonna
it.
talk about a couple of those. So let's get into it, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Top 10. These are the decks. This is actually NATO's idea. These are the decks that we think going forward. You know, this is pre the Boil 2, the biggest CDH tournament ever. This is pre that, and I'm probably going to post it before that so we all know. This kind of is going to give everybody an idea of what might be there or what to watch out for because there's a couple decks people probably are going to look at me like, what are you talking about? I have about 30 games in the new meta, and this is our opinions. I couldn't stress that enough. If we disagree, it's okay. It's our opinion. I didn't want to use stats. I looked at EDH top 16 a little bit, right, for the tournaments and stuff like that. But I already had a good like 6, 7, 8 decks I was going to talk about before I even look at the list. So let's get into it, NATO. What is your honorable mention? What do you got?
My honorable mention, I didn't have one until now, but I'm gonna go with the Gitrog. Just to
Oh, the
spite you.
new one. Oh, that guy's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the old one. I was I was scrolling EDH top 16 over the past month, looking at conversion rate, and lo and behold, he's up there. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
All right,
He's
I'm gonna let
15th.
you talk about this deck in a second. Respectfully, I disagree. One, two, guys, y'all ever have a trap hand in CDH where you're like, this is a really good ass hand if I draw land? That is Gitrog. It is a trap ass deck. That is a trap deck. Do not sleeve this deck up. It is too slow. It is fucking trash. And you don't have Jewel Lotus mana grip. Anyways, go ahead, Nato. Why is he your honorable mention?
All right, counter argument to everything you said. He's a frog. So
I was ready to argue. He's a frog. You got me. He said.
you can't argue with that. That's just pure facts.
Well, I tell people all the time, we can disagree. Show me. Bring Gitrog, win a tournament with it, and make me eat my words, and I will eat my words. Right? Like every time Gitrog gets there, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this deck is the hot garbage.
Every time I've ever seen it in tournament, it does nothing for like 5 turns, and then they go for the loop, and everyone at the table is like, "Oh yeah, this deck can actually win," and then they just like kill Gitrog, and it's over.
Or it's like, oh, you win the game here. Cool. What's your loop? I'm gonna draw 80 cards. Judge, he just drew out his deck. He only has 76 cards in his deck. And he's like, oh shit. Got him.
Yeah. I don't actually think the deck is that good right now. I just
It's on the
am
internet
saying it because he's
forever.
a frog, and that's all the
That
justification
is
I
the
need.
11th best deck in your mind. In this meta, it is on the internet forever. You can't do anything about it. You cannot delete this video.
Oh, second honorable mention,
Okay.
Larb. Like,
Now,
same criteria. He's a frog.
all right. Now you're cooking with Garb. That guy's fucking. Have you played him yet or seen him?
I have not. I
Dude,
need to put them together
what's
and
what's
see
the
what he does.
famous card that you could play with the top card of your library?
Like Oracle
No,
Moldiah
there's like
kind
a
of
famous
effect,
blue
or
card, like Future Sight, right? Something Sight.
yeah, Future
Yeah,
Sight is like
so it's
the
like
generic
Future
effect of
Sight's
it.
fine, right? But then you start to
Mhm.
like, why is Magda and Kennen good? Synergy, right?
Mhm.
Every card in the deck, not every card, but like you can cast your Force of Wills on top. You can surveil. You can do graveyard stuff. You could like Glarb is a real deck. It's not top 10. Like we're tripping. But is it a deck if someone like you said pre this, if Comedian took Glarb and played 10 games with it, he's gonna top 16. 100%.
Yeah.
That deck, it's like counterbalance is insane. It doesn't play all the crazy dumb counter spells, but it has stuff like counterbalance. Sensei's Divine Top counterbalance, right? It has stuff crazy shit like that. It has hole breaker loops. The deck's really good.
Dude, like way back after I played the first sliver, my very next deck was Grand Arbiter like Shift Flash. And
Mm,
it plays a bunch of future side effects
yeah.
as its combo
Okay, I like that.
with
I like that.
it was a cool deck. It's bad.
That
Like it's
reminds
just
me of
it
like
just straight up
reality
is
chip
bad. But
stuff.
yeah, it did play the
Yeah, that
reality
that
chip,
card's really
played
good.
future sight. Um
Yeah,
I think it was called Shift Flash
I know what you're talking
because
about. You
or
may play spells, top
shift
of your
something. There was
library.
something where you could like exile the top card of
Yeah,
your deck
yeah.
at whenever you wanted to prevent a damage, and then you could with any future side effect, you just
Yeah,
get to
I'll put
cast
it
your
up
deck.
right here.
Yeah.
People will see it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but that's sick, dude. I don't mean to shit on your honorable mention, and I'm gonna let you roast me when I say mine, and I'm gonna let you say whatever you want. This is your list, right? But the Get Rog, I
Yeah.
had to say something. Unless you go number one is like Mono Red Ragavan, I'm not gonna clown you anymore.
All spoilers.
Spoiler. All right, my honorable mention is Stella Elite. That
Okay.
fucking deck I've seen 5 times in the new meta, and that deck is literally it has like 7 one-card combos with the commander. And it's not a deck like Gitrog where I'm just gonna remove the commander. No, it's in fucking Is It. It has all the
Mhm.
interaction. It is so resilient. You see it coming. You can't do anything about it. Like I have just one instance, right? This is the finals of a mini tournament I played. The guy played the roll one, or you get the wicked roll. That was the first spell he cast, right? There's a vexing bauble. So then he goes, I'm a whole priority, and then I'm gonna cast a force of will on it. Trigger vexing bauble counter, trigger stealthily, exile something. Okay, cool. Third spell, I'm gonna cast a Fierce Guardianship or a holding priority, casting Fierce Guardianship that gets countered. Now he wins the game with the Wicked Roll card because it's still in the stack. So he activates Stella Lee and then he wins, and we can't do anything about it.
That's actually kinda
Yeah,
crazy.
and
Yeah.
what? Like I feel like pre-ban it was like fine, like okay, whatever. But like post-ban, the deck did not give a fuck about a Jewel Lotus, didn't care about a fucking Dockside, didn't care about a mana card, whatever. I do it next turn. But decks that are like an Is It colors that have one card combos, they don't mind being a little slower with blue, right? Gitrog sucks because A,
Mhm.
it's 5 mana, and B, it didn't have any interaction. It had a Veil of Summer, right? That was it. Right, with this deck, watch out. If you guys see Cell Lee, do not brush it off. That deck will win out of nowhere, or it will win and I get probed. I literally get probe them and they go, okay, I'll show you my hand. Fierce Guard, Force of Will, Swan Song, Force of Negation. And I'm just like, well, I'm not fucking winning. Guys, he's going to
Yeah.
untap and win. And he did. Like, the deck's insane. And that's the deck that I've always been sleeping on. But Postman, that's my honorable mention. And should have been my 10, but that deck is really good. All right, let's.
It
Yeah.
honestly is probably a deck I should have in my top 10, and I
Well,
don't.
if you haven't seen it,
It
right? I, I
I have seen it quite a
have
bit.
you?
I just didn't think about
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's you'll notice kind of a common theme in my top 10 and uh s- a uh quality of decks that um is consistent among good decks right now in the current
Mhm.
meta is inevitability.
Okay.
And I think Stella Lead does actually have inevitability because it's literally just you cast the commander and everything you draw is going to be something that feeds into winning
Mhm.
the game. You hold on to those cards that actually combo, and then you just find 3 other spells to cast.
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't matter if you get
Mhm.
stopped. You're just gonna draw a handful more cards that will
Yeah.
feed you back into that
Imagine.
game, and eventually you will get there. You
Yeah.
get to keep putting wins on
Imagine
the
if
stack because
Tivit.
your win is
Yeah.
just in the
Imagine
command
Tivit
zone.
had red and it had 4 times Thieves. That's
Yeah.
literally how the deck feels. Oh, okay, you countered my thing. Okay, next turn. Okay, boom, you counter that one. I'm gonna cast Twitch. Okay, you counter Twitch. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop you guys next turn. Counter this. Yeah, we can't stop the 4th one. Right. I think
Mhm.
I'm gonna change. That's my 10th. Thank you, so the more
Alright.
we're talking about it.
I'll you know what? I'll move it up into my honorable mention.
All
Goodbye,
right, all right,
frogs.
all right. So yeah, let's get into it, man. We're already 17 minutes in. This is awesome. Let's get what's your number 10, man? What do you got?
My 10
I'm not gonna clown you, I promise.
don't
I'm
judge
not
me.
judging
Don't judge
you.
me.
I'm sorry. It's just Get Wrong. I hate Get Wrong. And Karkashima, don't fucking
Look,
bring that deck around me. I swear to God, I'll flame you.
oh, no, that deck is like
Get
890th.
that dog
So
shit out of here.
um, but I have a track set at number 10,
Yeah.
and it's kinda
4 color
weird
red.
'cause, so Atraxa was the deck I played the most in my, like, CDH career. Like, I had a lot of
That's what you're
success with
known
it.
for, right?
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I have the deck list on I think I have the most viewed deck list on
Cat
Moxfield
food,
for
baby.
Atraxa. Yeah.
I know. My brother loves
But,
Atraxa. He has a slab Atraxa.
dude, I love that card so much.
It's a
It's so
really good
cool.
match. It's probably one of the best Magic cards, like in all formats right now. Like if you go in any other format, it's doing really good.
Yeah. But it kind of fell off at when the meta was speeding
Hmm.
up with all the rock size, like gearing up for the
Hmm.
invitational. But now the meta has slowed down
Hmm.
significantly with the bans. And that got me cooking with the tracks again. I'm like, well, we did just lose the 2 best ways to cast her.
It's fine.
But that wasn't really how I was casting her anyway.
Hmm.
You cast her on like turn 8 after you've slowed the game down to a crawl and you have a bunch of dorks or
Hmm.
mana rocks and you cast her then.
Yeah.
So I got to cooking with a really more ritual oriented
Hmm.
build. One that was on Culling Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Beseech the Mirror, Rain of Filth,
Mm.
Sacrifice, like all these big ritualistic effects
Mhm,
that were more instants and
mhm,
sorceries because my mindset was if I'm gonna I can sit there and grind with Ristic Study, little goobers like Ranger Captain and like Dranith, Opposition Agent,
mhm,
whatever. And then when I want to win, I play one of my many cards that get Culling Ritual,
mhm.
Slam and Attracts it down, sacrifice, play Ad Nause, play Stinging Study, which is also a cool card for the deck.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Draw cards, how
Mini Ad
many
Nause.
CMC or something your commander is?
Yeah, it's a 5 mana instant like Ad Nause that you lose life and draw cards equal to the CMC of your commander. Doesn't have to be out. Can be in the command zone or on the battlefield. Um,
Pay 5 mana, instant
so
speed, draw 7 cards.
yeah,
Hmm, alright.
it plays well into the game plan of just developing some mana, holding open mana to interact, and if nothing happens, just draw
Or
7
just
cards.
end
Why
step,
not?
draw 7 cards.
Yeah, I mean it's just a 5 mana better Atraxa technically, and then you can go into your turn and cast actual Atraxa.
Alright.
and then you're cooking. Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, man. The Trax is like my number 8. It's not my number 8, but it's just like that. And that's one
Yeah.
deck. I don't know if you watched the video, but I had Ian on the day of the bans. But we weren't going to talk about the
Oh, really?
bans, but we ended up talking about him because there's an elephant in the room. And he said he's
Mhm.
excited to brew Atraxa because Atraxa is one of those decks that, yeah, I lost Jewel Lotus. Yeah, I lost Mana Crypt. I'm never casting Atraxa, but that was the worst thing the deck did. I have a short that says that.
Mhm.
The worst thing about casting your commander or your commander is casting your commander. He was like, Atraxa as the outlet is really good. Like a 4-color soup
Yeah.
pile, right? So I agree with you. I'm with you. Atraxa's cracked.
And that's still the strength of the deck is you just play the best cards possible. I even ended up cutting my initial build cut like uh Displacer Kitten and Teferi because it's just a bad combo,
I don't know, man.
and I rarely have it tracked out anyway. But I ended up putting it back in, and
Well,
I'm glad I
I always
did.
tell people like that's probably one of the best cards for if you're doing the Atraxa thing, right? Like I'll
Hmm.
cast Mana Rock, Flicker Atraxa. I'll cast this Flicker Atraxa. You're winning the game. But if the deck is moving away from casting Atraxa, I get it. Right,
Yeah,
for sure.
I cut a lot of clones because they're
Well,
just not that great. I mean, you
yeah, I
can
have a Gyarados deck that I threw
clone
against the
TNT's
wall.
Bloom Tender or
Yeah.
something, but that's not that
Mhm,
fantastic. And if you're and to get away from the synergistic pieces and just play a 99 that's more just the best cards you can play.
mhm,
If I'm only going to play like one or two pieces that actually the only thing they do is synergize with Atraxa,
mhm,
I ended up picking Sacrifice because if I only have one mana after Atraxa, what I'm choked on is mana. So Sacrifice just instantly gets me 7 mana.
mhm.
And then Kitten just wins the game if you have an Atraxa out.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, I'm and you're the Atraxa guy. I
But
wanted to talk about that a little bit too. Like, hey, how does
yeah.
Atraxa feel? So I'm glad you said that. Still top 10. I like it.
The reason it's not higher on my list is because, well,
TNT.
it technically is better now because
I don't know
you
if it's better.
the meta is slower and that plays into Attraction's strengths more, but also again, your commander sucks. Like you're not doing anything
Well,
with it in
Commander
the early
7
game.
mana.
It provides you no value.
Yeah.
It
Or
it helps
If it
you
was
not at
Sans
all in
white,
mulligans.
right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm with you. Like, we can always talk about Atraxa later. I gotta burn through these, but I'm with you though. We're definitely gonna be back on the
Yeah.
pod. We're gonna talk about it a little more later. Maybe you bring Atraxa to the Boil. Maybe you win it. I would love to. Let's do another.
I don't think
Let's
that's
do
happening.
a Atraxa deck tech. Who knows? But my number 10 is Telly. So I'll say my
Oh.
honorable mention is Omnixilus. That deck
Oh, okay.
is still really good. The Turbo Adnos thing was like the second best thing that deck did. That deck is good with casting on Mixilus and then just taking over the board. I played 3
Hmm.
games against it, and yeah, it doesn't consistently get turn 2, but it's still on Dark Rit, Rite of Flame. It's still on all those. So you can still get it out at least turn 2, turn 3 at the latest and do the thing. Right. I think the best thing it was at was, yeah, I'm going to play the later game. And the format did slow down. And I don't have to talk about a lot about it, but Obnix is really, really strong still. What do you think about Obnix?
I initially kind of wrote it off
Me too.
because the strength was just casting Obnixilis and grinding, but now your fastest ways to get it out are gone.
Yeah,
But seems to still be very
it
strong.
100%.
A local guy who very consistently would top four locals with it. He's still top four post ban with
Yeah.
it.
You
So
got me, Gary.
I didn't get to talk with him much about it on his
Yeah.
thoughts, and I didn't get to play against him, so I can't really say
Yeah.
too much
With
about
all
it.
these
But
on my list, this is experience. Like I'm not gonna just say
yeah,
something that I think is gonna be good. Like, no, this deck is genuinely good and it hosed us twice. Like, because we thought the same thing.
yeah.
Ah, he's off. I'll let him resolve the Obnixus. I don't care. Next turn, he goes, what's that stupid card that you cast a card from exile, ping a damage to somebody, and he just kept looping it with Ob, and we're just like, dude, we do nothing. Like we're dead
Hmm.
here. Like there's so many Ob cards like Prosper. Like there's so many cards that gets printed for that deck. It's really, really strong.
It's definitely the strategy in CDH that gets the most new cards.
Yeah. Like Sisei will always be good. Yeah, cards like I'm like, I agree. So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Malcolm Vile. Uh, this is one I really can't speak that much about. I have not played against it. post-ban. I've not played it. It just has the best conversion rate post-ban. But if you look closely at the results, I don't know. They got 15th and 16th at a fairly large event. It's not necessarily dominating any
Mhm.
event, but again, haven't played it. I just looking purely at stats.
Okay.
I had to throw something
Well,
on
I
there,
want to loop
so
this kind of
that's
with
my
my
9.
number 9 is I have Thrasfile. And that deck is kind of similar as well, it doesn't do the pirate thing, but if you look closer, it's not as good as it really is, but it's still 4-color
Mhm.
pile of cards. So with Malcolm Vile, it's a Grixis deck with pirates in it. Yeah, you're not turn 1 Malcolm anymore. Like, that's what sucks about the deck. I wouldn't go top 10, but I'm not hosing you for it. Like, I'm with you, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's just slow Rogsai that has a better mid-game plan and an
yeah.
alternate win con,
Yeah,
so, eh,
Glenhorn. No, I'm with you though. Numbers don't lie. Like, you're right. The first thing when because EDH top 16 they changed their stuff right after the ban. First thing everyone
yeah.
saw was Malcolm Vile's the best deck in the format. What the or what?
We just see, like, 80 people playing it at the boil.
That'd be crazy. I can't wait to get 80 wins. That's crazy. But no, the deck's still strong. Like Grixis doc deck will always be good in this format. Like
Yeah.
I've brought
It honestly doesn't matter what commander you play. If
yeah.
you're playing Grixis 99, it's
What was
gonna
that
be
one
okay.
deck? Crom, the new black guy. Yeah,
Francisco?
that was a deck. And that deck sucked. It had walking ballista lines. Ooh, and what's the 2-man artifact? Agha's Soul Cauldron. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm playing Grixis, I play anything better than this, but it's fine, right?
Still
Yeah,
playable.
no,
Still
I'm with
wins
you.
games.
So yeah, my Thrasfile. This deck is really strong. Red is, I feel like, going to be underrated now. Everyone's like, oh, it's a slow format. Red's bad. No, Breach is still the best thing to do in this format. Thrasfile's
Yeah.
still really good. Thrasios decks got way better. Green got way better. So it's kind of with Malcolm Vile is, hey, my commander does a thing. Don't let my commander do the thing. I have so much synergy in this deck. Don't let me get a Seaborn Muse, right? I always think of it, it's kind of like Rog Thrasios on crack with fucking Thrasfile because you have all the colors that you want. You don't care about white. The deck is really, really strong. But again, I haven't really seen it much. I don't play it. My brother used to play it, but just looking at the meta, I feel like Thrasfile could accidentally top 16 in the boil 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think
but,
green actually adds a lot to the
mhm.
Necro Potence plan just because you have Manamorphose, crop
It's not good.
rotation for the emergent
Yeah.
zone. Yeah.
No, I'm with you 100%.
I feel like red is going to be strangely evaluated going forward
Mhm.
because it was just like Doc or not Dockside, Underworld
Mhm.
Breach. It just straight up is
Mhm.
better than everything
Well,
else.
before ban, it was like, give me a reason why not to play red, right?
Yeah.
That's why the Sans red
I mean,
decks
that's
weren't
why I
that good.
stopped playing Sans Red Pile.
Right. So now you can play Sans red and it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, I had a discussion in the Ohio Discord earlier today, actually, where a couple people were talking about red versus green and how you should still play red because of Underworld Breach. And it's like, yeah, Underworld Breach is better than everything green is doing, period.
better than everything. What are you talking about? That
But
card's
most of the best green cards are better than everything else red is doing.
yeah.
Like Wheel of Fortune is not that great of an
No, but we
effect.
knew
The
that
red
though.
blasts are
Yeah, it
okay.
was
It's just like,
Dockside, Breach, and then everything else. But those two cards held
yeah,
red up big.
huge gap.
Yeah, but we knew that, and it's fine. But Breach is still strong. If you're red blue, like you still play Breach, probably.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing some crazy synergistic thing like a Magda, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm glad we're getting on the same page. What's your number 8, big dog?
My number 8 is Yuriko.
Ah, spoiler,
Um,
that's my number 7. Let's talk
really?
about it right now. Yeah, I fucking love Yuriko.
So far, our lists are actually kind of similar. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
funny.
yeah, Yuriko. It's a weird deck for me because I still don't think it's that great,
Oh man,
but it has
Briggs.
just the ultimate
Oh, I
inevitability
think we're exact
of any
opposite,
other deck.
dog. I just watched it with the
Really?
chaos. It almost won the whole chaos thing. What does Sisay
Yeah.
and Kennen do that's busted? Not cast
Not cast
spells.
spells.
Eureka
Yeah, and
needs 2
that's
ninjas and you're dying.
Yeah. I hate playing like Atraxa or TNT or any
Yeah,
other deck that wants to go into the mid game against Yuriko because you are going to die before you get to the
in the
gameplay
whole meta.
game state you
Yeah,
want.
the whole meta, like, it's very unique. Like, there's not a deck that really does that. Like, I'm not like,
Yeah.
Winota's not played anymore, maybe Omnixilus with commander damage. Not a lot of decks are like, "Oh, my life total is relevant now." Like, buy Nas decks, buy
Mhm.
Necromotans decks. But, like, Modern Horizons 3, I feel like it made it better. It still wasn't, like, top 10, but it made it better, and then the post-ban, I think 3 we can talk about it right now. I think, 3 decks, were the biggest winners, and it was Kennen, Magda, Yuriko. In my
Yeah.
opinion, like Yuriko was like, fuck yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, one thing thinking about Yuriko that I wish more Yuriko pilots would do is whenever I play against them, they play extremely safe, and then the game goes to a draw.
Mm,
I just once, just in later game, use that vampire tutor. Don't put interaction so you can stay another turn. Just put the freaking shadow mortality on top and
fuck
kill
yeah.
this. Like, just
Yeah.
do it.
Don't win with
End the game.
Thorgal. You're in fucking Yuriko. I'm gonna cut
Yeah.
Thorgal if I play that deck.
But
I got you.
yeah, the deck is very strong. It just has that inevitability. You can't get rid of the
It's so
commander.
unique. It's so unique.
Yeah, it is very unique.
Ninjutsu
I like the
is
deck. I think it's
I
very
think
cool.
Ninjutsu is one of the coolest mechanics out there. And I think Commander Ninjutsu was a mistake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Design
Yeah,
mistake.
like Satoru was fine. All my stuff, my Hangus Ninjutsu, that's fucking cool, right? Commander
Yeah.
Ninjutsu, how are you gonna get rid of it?
They should have I'm surprised they've never actually
Errated
altered
that?
the
Okay,
rules
Imma
slightly
stifle it,
just to
the next
have
turn I just cast it again or get it again.
it
Yeah,
should have, commander tax to the ninjutsu.
something. I agree, but
Yeah,
I think Eureka, there's gonna be probably, if I were to guess, say 10 people take it to the boil because they're just like us. Ooh, it's really good. But it might maybe one top 16, but he's a really good pilot with this deck. Like that's one of those
yeah.
decks. But it's one of those decks. If you're in your top 16 and you see Eureka, you're gonna be like, oh man, I gotta eat my Wheaties, right? Like we might lose to this stupid ninja tribal deck.
I think it'll be very popular at the
Really?
boil, and I think it'll be extremely abundant in the higher up
Hmm.
pods, but I don't know if it'll actually make top
Yeah, it's
16.
probably gonna be one of those, if we don't stop this, we're losing to Eureka for no reason, right? I think
Yeah,
once the blue farms and once the good pilots go, hey guys, let's stop that bullshit. Let's board wipe twice, and then we can play our game, kind of like the Rockside thing.
yeah. I often see the play pattern of everyone slowly dying to Yuriko. The table collectively says, "I'm sick of this. We're gonna deal with this now." One player is like, "I'm gonna go get Toxic Deluge and deal with it." They resolve Toxic Deluge. Yuriko's no longer the problem. They pass to the next
And
player
they
and they
win.
win.
Yeah, Eureka's really good at being like Winota, being the threat, being the threat, being the threat. Now we're not the threat. Now they're blown out, and then blue farm wins, and it's like, God damn it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Where I would like to see more Yurikos actually just put the short shadow mortality on top. Just go for it,
Yeah,
because you're getting blown out in the late game when you just have a stranglehold
yeah.
throughout
I
85% of the
yeah, I
matches.
have a list and I built it just like in Magdo where I was like, I'm not playing none of that cute shit. I'm playing Flippy Eureka. Like it is a
Yeah.
commander. It's not a Gitrog where you just remove it or you counter it or whatever. No, it's gonna keep coming back and coming back. So the whole deck can be all about Eureka. Bitch, I'm on 34
Hmm.
creatures. I'm on all the big mana shit. Right? Like bring it. Right? Like
Yeah, and you play all the lands,
all
the
the
like the
MDFC
MDFC
lands,
lands.
roaming throne, all that, all the tribal stuff, dog, all that good shit. Yep, I think the deck's really good. So that was my number 7. My number 8 is Tivit. It's just like Atraxa for me. Ian's famous for saying this, and on my channel too. Hey, you don't want to cast an early Tivit anyways. You don't care about Gelotus Mana Crypt. At the end of the day, you do not give a shit. Because Tivit, once you cast it, it refuels it for the time sieve if you're doing that. But like Esper in general, control decks in general got better in my mind. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna be the top deck. I don't think it's gonna win any tournaments anytime soon. It might win a random one, but Tivit is a deck. Oh, you don't have Julius Mana Creep in your deck. Ha ha ha. Okay. He's in Esper control and he's going to dunk on you, bro. He's going to play Dark Rit, Cabal Ritual, Tivit, right? Like, he still has a one card
Yeah.
combo. I think it's just like the Atraxa that you talked about. Now, my card quality is going to be better. Now, I'm going to play shittier shit like Shieldred now and Steel Enchantment, and I'm going to make this fucking game a hell to play. And then I'm going to cast Tivit and then win the same turn I cast Tivit. And I think it is completely fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Tivit's weird. It is strong. I didn't put it on my top 10 simply because I think it is just the easiest deck to play against in
okay.
tournament. It's so telegraphed everything it does. It sits there with counterspells, slowly accumulating value.
Yeah.
Plops a Tivit down, swings a couple times, and then tries to go for
Yeah.
time save. It's so telegraphed. It's good. It'll win.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never let your guard down and you
Yeah.
know that, well, the
Well, if
Tivit
you're a seasoned
is
pilot,
going to win at some
yeah. If
point.
my pod looks like NATO Wounded Comedian, right? Like, I'm not worried about Tivit, right?
Yeah.
Like okay, Tivit's definitely not winning this pod, but in the Swiss, Tivit might top 16. The deck's still good. Like,
Oh, it'll
that's what
definitely
I'm
top
saying. Like,
16. I think just Esper piles in
exactly.
general, and that's probably more realistically what I should have made my number 10 is not just
I
Atraxa, but just Atraxa, Tivit, Master
I
Keys, all that
almost did
garbage.
that.
Like,
I almost did Tivit, Zur, Master of Keys in one, but I think Tivit is just better than those.
yeah.
And
I mean, having a one card
yeah,
combo
I'm never
just
gonna
kind of
sleeve it
makes
up.
it
I
better.
played the deck for a year when it first came out. I loved it. It was good. I'm good. Like, I've grown as a player. The deck is so like ugh to me now. Like, let me turn my brain off and let me counter spells and blah 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 blah. But it's still
Yeah.
this is like a top 10 guys you need to respect these decks. Like, for me, like Tivit is a deck. If you see at the pot of the boil, you need to be aware of it because it could win out of nowhere. It's going to cast a Grand Abolisher, not even Grand Abolisher Thoracle, right? It's still going to do the upkeep silence, Thassa's Oracle stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. But if you want to,
Yeah.
let's go
Tivit
ahead.
still can get there, and you need to respect
Right,
it.
right. Damn, it's already been 37 minutes. All right, so let's get into your number 7. What do you got? Mine was Eureka, obviously. What do you got, man?
I put Najila here.
Najila. He's not on my
Yeah.
top 10 at all. I
Really.
think that fucking deck is gone. Talk to me. Sell me on it.
I actually think it's very
Oh
good right
yeah,
now.
come on. Talk to me.
Um,
That's
so it's just a 5 color pile of good
mhm.
cards. It can play mid range. It can play turbo. It can play stacks if it wants to. It does everything, kind of like Blue Farm. And the way I evaluate it is in this meta, commander value isn't really that important. Like actual card value, if that makes sense. I think combo potential and inevitability is more important out of your commander. So there are just so many little cards. There's Fairy Mastermind, Archivist of Ogma, Ristic, Mystic, Esper Sentinel, Ranger Captain to get Esper Sentinel. Just so many cards you can play in the 99 that accumulate that slow value to stay in games as they go longer. That just having your win con be in the command zone
Mhm.
is just so important.
Okay.
You don't need to spend your vampiric tutor to go find uh I lost my
I
train
got
of
you.
thought.
No, I'm with you. She definitely has a lot of combos. What build do you think? Like the turbo or the mid range or the Najila plan? Like, what build of Najila?
I think just like pure mid range, the one that can just
Grim
pivot.
Hireling,
So the one,
Derevi,
yeah, you play Grim Hireling, Derevi, you
Samut.
play Summoner's Pact to get that easy win when you need
Mm-hmm.
to. But you also play Adna's Culling Ritual, or not, yeah, Culling Ritual, Culling the Weak even to eat up a little dork. But you're also on uh Dranith, Oppo, Bowmasters. You can even play Dothy. I think Dothy's very good right now. You
Hmm.
can play Fairy Mastermind
Interesting.
and Archivist,
I
all the
hate
cards I was
Douthy.
talking about.
I love
Yeah,
that we agree and
Dothy has
disagree.
always been very awkward, but just having onboard
Mhm.
interaction is so much better than having a counterspell in your hand right now.
Okay. I could dig it. I'm never sleeving it up, but I like that we're agreeing a lot and disagreeing a lot. I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, my seven's Eureka. What's your number 6?
This is where I put
Or is
Magda.
that was that 6?
Yeah, I had Nagilat 7, 6
Okay,
is where I put Magda.
Magda 6. Okay, we're getting into the sauce.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
personally have my brother is a really good Magda pilot. He's probably one of the best Magda pilots, and I've played against a lot of Magda in the post ban, and I have a lot of words for it. But I have Magda much higher. But good, let's talk
really.
about it. Yeah.
I actually don't have that much thought just because I don't get to play against it a lot, but again, going back to that inevitability, Magda wins purely by its just Magda the card.
Mhm.
You cast it on turn 1 or 2, and then you start swinging, and you play other little dwarves, and you start swinging, and then you get treasures, and then you win. You don't need to have any other cards in your hand. You just win purely through
Mhm.
Magda. You kill it once, a couple turns go by,
Doesn't
they
matter.
cast it again, they start
Yep.
swinging. You kill it again. Well, guess what? They're coming back, and they're gonna keep swinging, and they play just the most egregious stacks
Mhm.
out there, like the freaking God Pharaoh statue.
Oh, I'll talk about it on mine, but yeah, I mean, so for the common person that doesn't really like, is not CDH like tournament player, like because they're like, oh, Magda,
Mhm.
ew, that sucks. Magda does not give a fuck about this ban. When I genuinely tell you that some of them weren't even running Joe Lotus, they never played Mana Crypt, they didn't care, and Dockside was a
Yeah.
wet dream. Oh no, I don't
Yeah,
just
Dockside was just a "I win now"
yeah,
button.
but they don't even want to do that. They don't
Yeah.
care. They're not trying to win turn two. Dockside is so irrelevant. Like, yeah, the card's busted, but they got better because you're not on Dockside. Because you don't win out of nowhere. That they got
Mhm.
better because of that. And people are just like, I don't know, man. Red is dead. Y'all are crazy. I have Magda in top three. Because I have a lot of games
Oh, really?
against a
That's really
really
high. Yeah.
good pilot of Magda. And I want you guys, this is the number one deck that it's popular. Everyone knows about it, but it's not popular. So there's going to be a couple of Magdas at
Mhm.
the boil, but there's going to be some fucking Magdas that y'all need to fucking deal with. And I love my brother to death, but I'm telling you, he's going to wreak havoc at that tournament if y'all just laugh Magda off. Like that deck is.
Magda's just one of those decks where every time I see it at the table, it just gives me anxiety
I,
because I know I have
I
to
don't
deal
know
with
what
it at
it's
some point.
doing. I don't know what's going on. What card did you cast? What is that? You have a Karn.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Oh, we lose on my instep upkeep. What? Yeah, I'm with you.
Every time they cast a dwarf, you pick it up, read it. Does this one matter?
Yeah.
No, this one's just a
Yeah,
dwarf.
yeah. The new Magda's busted. Yeah. We'll get into
Yeah.
Magda later for me, but yeah, that
Yeah.
it's fucking insane. So gotta speed it up a little bit. My number six, Sisse.
Oh, okay.
There's three different Sisse pilots I played, and I was the first one that said, Kenrick's gone, Sisse's gone. And they go, here's my dick on the table. Untapped stuff with Sisse are still really, really good. The Derevi stuff, the Tutor, because legendaries are just getting better, guys. Yeah, Sisse's not the second best deck. We can all agree. Yeah, it's probably dropped a tier, but Sisse is still so good because it does the Magna Cannon thing, the most busted thing in our format. I don't need to cast
Yeah.
spells. I need to cast these couple spells to get there. Yeah, I don't have Dockside to just explode to do the Planeswalker line, but it's just like, okay, I'm going to instep activate Sisse. Okay, that resolves. Okay, I'm a main phase activate Sisse, win the game. Holy
Yeah.
shit, what just happened? Right? Like the deck is still really genuinely good and it is hard to interact with if you don't have an oppo out, if you don't know what's going on, like Magda, if you don't know how they win, they're just going to win on top of anything you're doing. And it's so terrifying. Hey guys, they have two Sisse activations. I'm going to respond with oppo. Okay, I'm going to respond to your oppo. Okay, I'm going to activate Sisse. I'm going to win. And it's like, fuck. What do you think
Yeah.
about Sisse?
I actually put it higher on my list.
Cool.
It is one of the most played against decks for me. I played uh, almost every pot I practice with.
Okay, cool.
I play against Matt Sweeney. I think he finished in the top 10
And
on the leaderboard for last
I'm
year.
seeing a lot of Sisse's in this post, man. If you go to EA Top 16 and hit tournaments in last month, just do 1 month, you'll see a lot of blue farms, a lot of rock sides, a lot of Sisse's. And that deck, I don't think
Yeah.
it's lost traction. Obviously, it lost its best card, but that deck is fucking good. We'll talk about it when we get to yours.
Yeah, all it lost was its win now button, but everything else about the deck is still
Yeah,
absurdly strong.
100%. It's
But yeah, we can talk about it
Sisse's
more
still
when
good.
we get to my
Yeah, I don't know how Sisse
yeah.
hasn't been the best deck in 5 years. Like, and it's just going to get better, right? I don't think Sisse is ever going to get another ban in the next 2 years. It's really going to hurt it, right? Unless some busted legend comes out again, right? Like, it's just going to get
Yeah.
better. So, what do you got?
I mean, even if they ban Mystic and Rhystic, Sissy
That deck
doesn't
doesn't
care.
want to draw cards. What?
Yeah, it it actively, like, doesn't really mull for that
Yeah,
kinda stuff.
exactly. I've seen people cut Mr. Gamora out of that deck. What are you talking about? Yeah, I agree. Oh, I have this fucking planeswalker in
That
my
might be a
hand.
little too far, but
Yeah, but I have these 3
I can
planeswalkers in
see
my
it.
hands and an Oath of Nissa. Ugh, I don't wanna cast these, right? But, what's your number 5, Doc?
5. Oh, this is where I put, Tim Necrom.
Woo! Let's get it. I know we're at 45 minutes, but let's get into
Yeah,
debating.
I,
You gotta sell me on it, and then I won't cut you off, and then I'm gonna roast you. Go ahead.
alright, so Tim Necrom basically just plays without his commanders now. You maybe get Timna out on turn 2 or 3 if you have Fierce or SWAT in hand and you actually wanna be able to defend and protect the
Yeah.
table. But it's, basically just a commanderless Sands green pile, which is still good. I put it in my top 5. I think it's one of the strongest decks in the format, but you're just not doing anything. You don't have those starts, those strong starts. You don't get Crypt, Jewel Lotus, Crom, turn 2 Timna, draw a couple cards, and you already drew 2 off of Crom, and then by turn 3, you're just dropping Dockside into Breach. Now you have to actually work for your wins. You're playing the same game plan that TNT is playing, like Timna Thrasios. You're playing little creatures that accumulate value. You want to play Fairy Mastermind now. You're on Archivist. You're trying to draw a couple cards to get into Timna, swing a couple times, and then you maybe hope to land a Smothering Tithe in the mid game. This is all stuff that Timna Thrasios is trying to do, but Timna Thrasios gets better value out of it. They're getting mana dorks, so they can accelerate a little faster. They get Gaia's Cradle. They get Seedborn. They get all these synergies with the green cards, and they have an outlet in the command zone in Thrasio. So, it to me, it's just there's almost no reason to play the deck because it's doing everything TNT is doing, but worse. Except one
Alright.
thing. There's one thing,
I couldn't
and that's
I couldn't
Underworld
disagree with
Breach.
you anymore, but okay. That's kinda funny because that was the opposite. Why are we playing TNT where there's Blue Farm? And now we got flipped.
Yeah, like literally, the bands just switched the decks.
Have you
It's
okay.
why would you play TNK now when you can play
Have you
TNT?
played against the
And there
TNK?
is still a valid reason. It's Underworld Breach.
Yeah.
Underworld Breach is better than everything else
But
in the format.
have you played TNK post-ban against it?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
And I play
It
against
doesn't
it
sound like you
all the
have.
time. Really.
Dude, we have 2 opposite fucking that deck is fucking done. I'll talk about it when I get to mine, but I see where you're coming from, and I'm not disagreeing with you. That was my first thoughts. And then I got dunked on, and dunked on, and dunked on. And I don't know what y'all are talking about. You're fucking high. Like, I need somebody. I don't have Blue Farm as number 1. I don't think it's the best deck in the format anymore. But I need to see results. I need people to show me this is not the Titan I've seen for 3 years. Why is Blue Farm so good? Because of the colors and the cards in it, right? It is so
Yeah.
resilient. If that is the best deck of I do nothing all game, and then I Cavern of Souls, grant Abolisher, win. The deck still does that, right? The deck still
Yeah.
wants a turn 1, turn 2 Ristic Study. Yeah, it's probably a turn slower. It didn't give a fuck about the Tim Necrom plan anyways. Right before the ban, they weren't even doing that anymore. They're trying to keep up with Roxai, right? Like, the deck's not cutting ad nauseam. They're just in-step ad nauseam. The deck is still really, really strong, in my opinion. But we can get there too. I respect your opinion.
Yeah.
You're my guest. You're dope as fuck. You're a better Magic player than I am. But in my experience, you're on fucking drugs, and people that think like you at the boil are going to get hosed by Blue Farm, and Blue Farm's probably going to win the tournament. But
See, I just disagree because I play with one of the best Blue Farm pilots multiple times a week.
yeah,
I play with him every Monday and at
okay.
locals, and he's just not been doing as well with it. And playing against it, it's his skill that's winning games, and I'm not impressed with anything the deck is doing. It's just Ristic Study, into draw, some counter spells, and
But it's always
breach.
been that, right? Like, the game plan has not
It just
stopped.
does it slower though. I still have it at number 5. I'm not saying it's a
Okay.
bad deck.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there are other decks that can take advantage of this meta better, and there's another deck that does the exact same thing this
Okay.
is
We
doing,
can agree to
but
disagree,
better. There's
though.
2
I
decks.
don't think TNT's better. There's no
Really?
what is TNT doing that's better than Blue Farm? What does TNT what is TNT's breach? I I don't agree. I don't think
Devoted Druid.
is it though? Devoted Druid? That card fucking sucks. Breach wins with the gamble. If I gamble my hand, I might
Yeah.
win the game because of Breach. There's not one combo in TNT that is better than Breach. So that alone is zone entity. Okay, so let's cut Breach.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
cut
not trying to argue against Breach, but
right.
it's everything else the deck
I,
is
and
doing. I
I'm
think
with
TNT
you
does
on
better.
that, but I felt like the last 3 years, Blue Farm has been dog shit. I didn't understand how it was so good. How is this good? This is fucking trash. But the deck's fucking like identity has not changed. Okay, it doesn't have Dockside, it just doesn't explode. Okay, it doesn't have early
Yeah,
Crom. That's when the deck wasn't doing good anyways. You don't want to sit back for 6 turns and do the Crom 10 myth thing, right? That's just my opinion, and I'll
yeah.
talk about it more in
Well,
number 2.
I have 2 thoughts on that real
Good.
quick. The one is the bans hurt the consistency of the deck as they did with every single deck.
Right.
But the
Right.
since you said like the Timna and Crom game plan was not game plan number 1, which yes, that was true. But it was a possible game
Yeah.
plan that if you just found a hand that was Mana Crypt Jewel Lotus, you're keeping it.
Right.
It's an early Crom that's going to get you in
Right.
the game,
Right.
and then every other card in your hand is just bonus,
Mhm.
and that's just
It
gone
was
now. You just
yeah,
don't
well,
have
any
that.
monkey could play it and win, right? And now, like
Yeah.
you said it yourself, Blue Farm is harder to win now. So when you get the top pilots like the Baileys, like the Freedom Waffles, and if he gets back on this deck, the better pilots with this deck, I think I gotta see y'all beat him. I bet
Yeah.
everything there's gonna be at least 2 to 4 Blue Farms in the top 16 of the boil, like
Oh, there
like
definitely
a
will
hundred
be because
percent
it'll
because
be the most played deck or
yeah,
top 3.
but even if it's not the most played deck, because that was a very misconception about the deck was, hey, it's the best deck by far, but it has 3 times more entries than everybody else because everyone goes, ooh, Blue Farm, I like winning games, yay, Blue Farm, and then they don't do anything in the top 16 and they never win the tournament. But the big dogs that bring it, right, they always win, and I feel like that is still like I'm telling you, I think this
Yeah.
deck is fucking crazy. But
I
I'm with
mean,
you though.
we've said this
I'm
before, a good pilot on a good deck is gonna
period.
win.
And Blue Farm is still good in that. But I agree
Yes.
with you. Like moving forward, okay, what does the meta look like? So now the top 4 is going to be, let's just say, Kennen, Sisse, Blue Farm, Roxai, right? Like
Yeah.
would probably still put my money on Blue Farm because that deck is resilient against all 3 of those, and the other 3 can't say that the other one. Roxai is bad against this deck, good against this deck, mid against this deck. Sisse is good against this deck, bad against these 2 decks. Blue Farm is still like, oh no, I'm still good against all these decks, even though I'm not doing the Crom thing, right?
That is still the advantage
That's what
of
I'm
Blue
saying.
Farm is
So
it doesn't have a true weakness. It can play into
correct,
any
but
pod.
I want to agree with you more than anything. I've always thought that deck was dog shit. But now the bad pilots are probably going to get off of it, and the good pilots, most of the good pilots might change. That's what I love about this fucking goddamn format is we don't know. We can both be right, both be wrong. I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong. That's fine. I'll see you in 3 months. We'll talk about it, right? So
3 months from now, we're like, "Man, Bruce Thras, tier
man,
0."
did you see Eureka hose the 3 Blue Farm thing? So we can move on. We can agree to disagree. And that could just be my
Yeah,
take for number 2. I think Blue Farm's fucking insane. I think people are crazy. If they underestimate this deck, they are going to lose. And that is what I wanted
yeah,
to say on this podcast. I agree with you. It's not the best deck. It's probably worse, but everybody else got worse. And if you fucking blink, you're going to lose because they're going to have 30 cards in their hand because that's what the game plan does. But I agree with you. I'm not scared of Blue Farm. When I play Blue Farm, I'm not scared of it. But every time
yeah,
I've probably played against it 8 times, and 7 times I've probably lost because they had 20 cards in their hand. Like just
yeah.
the
Well,
deck's
it's just
generically
I
good.
think part of that is just people haven't adjusted on how to play against it.
Right,
Stop feeding it
right,
cards. They're gonna win on turn 6 with
right.
Underworld
But
Breach. Stop
yeah,
it.
but in the 320 person tournament, let's be real here. How many good players are going to be at a 320 person tournament? 50? Maybe?
Yeah,
75 at most. So 2/3 of the field are going to be people that don't know what they're doing, and they're going to give Blue Farm the game like they've always done for 3 years. I'm just saying.
yeah,
I agree with you. It might not win the tournament, but it's probably going to be the most deck in the top 16. But agree to disagree. let's move forward. What's your number 4?
This is where I put
Oh,
Sisse.
yeah, I forgot to talk about my number 5, but go ahead.
Oh, what was your number 5?
TNT.
Spoiler alerts for my 4.
TNT. I was
Oh, nice.
so
Okay.
soft on that deck, but I agree with everything you said. Other than the blue farm thing, this deck is fucking cracked, right? Like, this is one deck I feel like has always been good, and it's always been like, oh my god, the right pilot plays this deck, right? But now I feel like this deck is seeing more eyes and more good players playing it. I want to quote Max P. He's a great guy. He's helped me a lot with the podcast. He's one of the best CDH players of mine. I talked to him today about it. He
Mhm.
won last weekend of recording. He won last week with TNT. So I was like, hey, man. Oh, let me. We're talking about this. Um, he goes, I really like it's perfect for cracking the current meta. Grindy card advantage, strong answers to anything, the silences to create windows, and the compact combos to use the windows, and the ability to consistently steal games at instant speed over the top of people. That is quote unquote
Yeah.
Max P. That's how he won the tournament. And I was like, well, did the deck feel clunky? Did the deck feel like really hard to win? He's like, no, it was not easy, but he was like, I felt comfortable. And what he just said, I feel like I stole a lot of games that I probably shouldn't have stole. And I agree with you. TNT's top 5, and it probably hasn't been top 5 in 4 years. Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it's healthy for the
Maybe.
format.
I personally hate the deck, but yeah, card advantage is good, right? Like, I feel like that's the deck
Mhm.
that wants the Tymna creatures. Blue Farm doesn't want the Tymna creatures. Maybe one, but like Blue Farm stopped playing Saracen a long time ago, and I don't think they're back on it. But TNT, they might play Saracen, right? Like that card's
I don't know about that. It's still a dead card.
maybe, but still, 1 mana, my Tymna gets in. Like, that's a deck that you're playing your Tymna early or your Thrasios early, right?
Yeah.
Like, that deck's fucking insane. But I agree with you. Top 5 deck, I don't see it going anywhere. TNT's going to be very popular at the Boil. Deck's fucking crazy. And y'all better fucking watch out. Do not play the long game against this deck. For the love of God, if you think you can outvalue this deck, you're wrong.
I'm not gonna lie, like, post-ban, I tried a bunch of different
Mhm.
decks, and putting TNT together was the first time I felt like I was actually playing something powerful.
I haven't
It just
touched it.
everything else felt so clunky. I was trying to play it like the way they were, but TNT just didn't really exist
Right.
until the bans. Like it kind of just died off. No one was agreeing on any
Right.
builds, and not that they do now, but now people are actually like brewing with it actively, piecing new combos together. Brewmaster was huge for the
Mhm.
deck. Opened up a ton of
Mhm.
lines, and just, just playing it more and more. I'm seeing all the different
Is that your
uh,
main deck right now?
lines and capabilities the deck
Is that
has.
your main
What?
deck right now?
It is, I think.
Probably taking to the
I'm
Boil?
gonna play it at a local uh this Saturday,
Okay.
and depending on how that goes, I think it's what I'm going to bring to the boil.
Yeah,
Might just bring Rod
and I
Soda.
think I think a lot of the players that were really good at Blue Farm, a lot of the players at the Invitational that were on Blue Farm are probably gonna take this deck. And I feel like this is probably gonna
Yeah,
be the best deck at the Boil. I don't know if it's gonna win the
it's just a
Boil.
pile of good cards for mid-range players.
Right, right. But all those Blue Farm players are gonna be like, "Oh, red's bad now. Let me play TNT," and then that deck's gonna see a lot more eyeballs than it did before. And I feel like that's gonna be the deck in the Swiss. You're probably
Yeah.
gonna see a TNT every pod or every other pod, and you're gonna have to try to figure a way to win it against it. Yeah,
Hmm.
that deck's really good. So, what's your number 4 to say?
Yeah, this is where I put Sisse. I initially wrote it off, like I think you said you
Mhm.
did,
Bye. See you later.
because every time I ever played against it, they only won because
Dockside.
of Dockside.
Yep.
So I wrote it off, but like I said, I play against it more than any other deck, and I see the lines that they're going for now, and the Bloom Tender, Fabero, even Giganta. Now I
Mhm.
see it's kind of crazy that it's still just there. They still do the same game plan. They maybe play an Espressino on turn one or a Mana Dork, and then turn two they play a bigger Mana Dork, and Sisse on turn three, and then turn four it's like, sorry, you
It
can't
just
interact
like
with me anymore,
dirtles.
and I die with 5 counter spells
It
in my
just
hand.
dirtles so good.
It does,
Like,
yeah.
that's just a deck. If you don't have removal in your deck, you're just gonna die. Ooh, cool. You have your Fierce Guardianship. What the fuck does that do?
There's something very valuable about the way Sisse can sit there in a pod
Mm.
against Rogzai and two other mid-range players. and Sisei can just say, "You guys are on your own. I am not
Yeah,
interacting
I'm
with
only
Roxai at all."
interacting on my game plan.
Yeah, and it's like, I play, like, 2 counter spells, so I'm not gonna interact with
Yep.
Roxai, and then
They,
the other 2 mid-range players had to mulligan and
mhm,
change their game plan just so they
mhm,
can get into the mid game and deal with the Roxai, and then Sisei's like, "Ah,
yeah.
thanks, guys. Okay, I'll win now."
That's the in the league I'm in, that's the second deck I've probably played against most to Magda, and I have 2 wins against it out of, like, 6 games, and most of those games to say won, and it was just because, like, I'm on Roxai, and I know I'm gonna if I go for turn 2, Sasay ain't doing shit, right? That's pretty much a Sans Blue deck, almost. So I know I'm fine, but after turn 2, turn 3, it's gonna do some dumb shit that I can interact with. I'm not an opposition agent. I'm not on fucking
Yeah.
dismembers and shit.
I put it back in just for this deck. I took it out because I was like, "Oh, Sisei died. I don't need Oppo anymore." Well, Sisei's
If
not
you're not
dead,
on
so I
Roxai,
put it
put that
back in.
Oppo back in. Yeah, that deck is
Yeah.
so good. I think all the decks, Kinnan, Magda, Sisay, the ones that don't, yeah, they need to cast spells early game, but they don't need these spells to resolve at the
Yeah.
end game. Yeah, and they're giving up
Yeah.
card quality, but they're adding synergy, and I feel like that's going to be the 2025 meta, 100%.
Yeah,
These,
it's all these decks that have the inevitability, the Kinnan, Sisei, Magda,
yeah,
Yuriko, they just sit there, they play a couple of spells early on, and then they just accumulate value and
mhm,
kill you.
yeah,
And your Force of Will is not doing
mhm,
anything.
yeah. If you're not skilled, you're going to lose to this kid. You're going to be like, oh, that's
Mhm.
how I lost. Oh shit, that won't ever happen again. The next game, fuck, I lost again to Sisse. God damn it.
It's hard to evaluate why you lose to decks
Yeah,
like that because it's not in the moment, "Oh, I made a wrong decision and they won." No, it's 4 turns earlier, you made a wrong
right.
decision
Or
and then they
like,
won.
oh, I'm just gonna tap out for this thing. Yeah, they're definitely not winning. I don't think they win. Nah, they're not winning. And you don't really know. And that gives me anxiety. Like what you said earlier. That deck is like, hey man, are you going for it next turn? No, I don't think so. Susse's power's only 2. And I'm like, what can he cast in his deck? I don't know. I don't fucking know.
If someone says, "I don't know," or "I don't think so," that probably means yes.
Yeah. Or the famous, I'm not winning on my turn. Okay.
Yes, Sisay can win on anyone's
What? Yeah,
turn.
what are you talking about? You're gonna wait for my defense card to resolve, and then it resolves, and you're gonna fucking win.
Yeah. It's like, "It's okay, your defense grid's fine."
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yep, breach is fine. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Yep.
My number 4 is my baby right now, Roxai. I feel
Okay.
like Roxai is not top 2, top 3. I have a feeling if Blue Farm isn't what I think it is, I have a feeling 2025 is going to be Kennen, Sisay, Magda. I really think that not casting spells and TNT probably. I think that's going to be the 4 horsemen. But again, waiting
Mhm.
for the boil. But this is what I think. I play Roxai. I have 30 games almost in this meta with Roxai. Deck is still good. You guys are tripping. Dockside was amazing. Mana Crypt's the biggest boon against this deck, not playing it. The deck is still really good. It's probably 50-50 for me. I've probably, with Roxai, maybe 15 to 20 games, and I'm probably 40% win rate. The games I win most of the time, I'm in charge. People need to stop me. I'm asking questions. They can't answer the questions. I win, right?
Mhm.
Other games, I do nothing. Probably 20% of the games, I'm not doing anything. I got blown out. The other games, turn 6, I pick my window, I win, right? That's consistently about the
Yeah.
deck. Yes, I'm probably bringing it to the boil. It has the best chance for me. Am I going to win? Probably not. But I think Rogside, just like all these other decks, in the right pilot's hands, they can get lucky enough. If someone, whoever they believe in, is looking down on them, Roxai is still a top 4 deck for me. I think that Roxai could take down the Boil if people fuck around and find out. That being said, Roxai did get hit. I didn't think it got hit that bad, but playing it, it's still powerful, but it definitely got hit. What do you think about Roxai?
Yeah, I think it actually got hit quite a bit harder than people were initially
Yeah,
evaluating. It lost the consistency in low mulligans and, like, 4th seat, you don't have the dockside to just bring you back in on turn 1 and win, and you don't
right.
have land
Mhm.
crypt's 3 mana spell that wins the game to save you on a mold of 3.
I agree.
Um, but the thing about Roxai is I think it has by far the highest ceiling of any deck, period. You can just high roll a turn 1 win, like, a solid 10% of the time.
Hmm.
maybe 20% of the time, but a turn 1 or 2 win.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you have the lowest floor
Mm-hmm.
of the good decks in the
Mm-hmm.
format. There's a good, I don't know exact math, but probably at least a third of the games, maybe not
Yeah.
at least a third, but around a third of the games, you're just not going to win. You're just going to sit there and do
And the
nothing.
meta got slower, right? And we feel like Tivit, Atraxa, and TNT got better. So those decks
Hmm.
fucking hose Roxai. And I'm with you.
Yeah, if you get bad luck, you mold a 3 and have 3 or 4, and you have a mid 4 that's maybe just a wheel on turn 2 to hopefully get you back in
Mm-hmm.
there, and Atraxa or any of these other mid-range pile decks kept a 7, guess what? They have interaction, they're gonna counter your wheel, and now you're not
Mm-hmm.
playing the game anymore.
Yeah. And it's going to be the one of those decks I feel like in the Swiss where a few of them are going to do really good and a few of them are going to go 0 and 2 and then go in those crazy ass fucking pods that people are playing mono blue Orvar and fucking mono white Transformers and Roxai doesn't stand a
Yeah.
chance against.
You lose round 1, you're just
If you
you're in the
don't
thick of
draw
it.
or lose the first 2 rounds, there's no coming back from you. But there's going to be the other guys where, oh, I got a turn 1 win because I fucking sucked Jesus' dick off, right? So I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, my
So
my my internet
good.
just started lagging super hard for some reason.
Yeah, it's fine. We're all good. So that's Rock Side, but I feel like everyone knows about
I
that.
think it's
Let's get in the damn. I'm crunched for time. Let's
yeah.
get in the top 3, dog. What do you got for number 3?
This is where I put Tim Thrasios. Not much to say about it. I think it's a great deck. It plays the mid-range pile that Blue Farm used to play. It doesn't have Breach, but it has just a better mid game and a better early game
Mm-hmm.
with all the dorks accelerating you early, and then just
Yeah.
all the excessive mana and just tight compact combos you have in the mid game.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
It's extremely
I
solid.
played against the deck, and the
Yeah.
deck's fucking good. Like, it's Kinnan on steroids. Like, do not let them resolve a
Yeah.
Seaborn Muse. Don't let them resolve a Kennen. Don't let them resolve a Druid. Like, those cards are really good. Like, again, we can.
There is like a flip side to that.
Mhm.
If you do see a TNT tap out for Seedborn, don't kill it right away unless you are winning. Let them untap once, then kill it. You're probably choking them on interaction for the table
Okay.
if you kill their Seaborn right away. Let them untap with it once unless you plan on winning immediately.
Or use free information. Be like, hey man, can you show me your hand so I don't remove the Seaborn Muse? Are you winning with Seaborn Muse? Like, talk about it. Don't just
Yeah.
go Source Monster Seaborn Muse. It's like, dude, I have 1 card in hand and Roxai's about to untap. Let me untap first. Like, talk about it.
Yeah, I see it all the
Mhm.
time. I cast Seedborn and people are just kill
It
it.
is
It's like, well,
insane,
I
but
need
let's talk about it. Yeah, let's
yeah.
like Conch Sphinx.
It's
You
like
remove
have a
Conch Sphinx, and
conversation.
as soon as it resolves, you remove it. Do not let them untap a Conch
Yeah.
Sphinx. It's gonna go out of control. Seabar Muse, let them stop them. Stop them. You pick their window. Yeah, I agree with. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
And don't let them talk you into keeping it around forever
Yeah,
either.
that's crazy.
It does need to die.
Oh yeah, especially any type of mana source. If they're untapping 9 mana every time and they're activating Thrasios 3 times a turn rotation, activate Kennen twice, that's going to get out of hand. But if they don't have Thrasios, if they don't have Kennen, and they're just hoping up interaction, I agree with you. Be smart, guys. Talk to the guy. Literally, I've done this before. Hey, man, I played against Freedom Waffle. I cast Demonic Tutor, sacked my Rog for Flare Education. I had 2 Demonic Tutors in my hand, and I was behind. And Freedom goes, hey man, here's my Fierce Guardian chip. What are you getting with those Demonic Tutors? And I was like, I'm getting Command Tower and Soul Ring. He's like, okay, cool. Or Mystic Gamora. I'm getting Command Tower, Mystic Gamora. He's like, okay, cool. You got it. It resolves. Okay, I'm gonna untap. I'm gonna copy your Mystic Gamora. He's like, why would I counter it? But I can blow you out of the game. Or you could tell me what you're getting with your 2 Demonic Tutors. And if I don't tell you, you're just gonna counter the
Yeah.
one, and then I'm cooked, right? So that's definitely Seaborn Muse.
Mhm.
My number
Just
3
free
is
info.
my number 3 is Magda. I said it a little bit earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
I've probably have, I'm not kidding, over 100 games against Magda.
Oh, wow.
That deck has always been so underrated and so good to me. Okay. I have 15 games against Magda post ban, and that deck feels like the strongest deck. I don't care if I'm playing Blue Farm, Shorekai, fucking steroids, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It doesn't matter. Magda is the problem. every single game we're playing league, so draws matter like a tournament. So we've played games where, hey guys, I'm not going to go for a win here. Magda's going to win on top of me or untap and win. Do not stop what I'm doing for Magda. We need a whole interaction with Magda. Well, how do they win? I'm telling you, Magda fucking win. It's one of those decks. You have to watch what it's doing. It is going to hose you in the fucking Swiss because you're not going to have any in the deck. It's so good against bad players. It is one of the best decks against bad
Yeah.
players. I'm just playing mono red. I have no interaction. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the one I play against specifically, it does have a lot of interaction. But not even talking about my brother, not even talking about me playing against it a lot. Like generically, this is an underrated card, and it is the second best deck since post ban that hasn't been hit. Like I said earlier, it doesn't care about Dockside. This deck is so fucking good in the right pilot's hands. You're probably going to see 5 at the boil. 2 of them are probably going to be the best Magda players ever, and you need to stop them. You
Yeah.
need to realize how fast if this guy knows what he's doing or not. Because we literally played a pod. It was me, this guy Pro Shaka, and Jamaican dude, and my brother. Right, my brother hosed all of us, murdered us with Magda. He was the problem the whole time. Couldn't stop him. He activates main phase, Godfarrow statue, puts us out of the game. Next turn, he wins the game. Right, even getting rid of Cock of Omens, he still won. Right, so then the next game, my brother left, and another random guy with Magda played, and it was like, oh, this guy's not even in the game. This guy sucks. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
new to the deck, and it was fine. And Jamaican dude won, no problem. Right. So you have to try to figure out, ask the guy pregame, hey man, how long you been on the deck for? Do you like the deck? Oh, I've been on the deck for 4 years. I'm one of the guys in the primer. Uh-oh. Right. Oh, I just picked up the deck.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay.
gonna lose.
You just picked up the deck. I'm cool. We'll talk about it. You're on the butt ass dragons. Okay, cool. Awesome. Right. Magda is
Yeah.
one of those decks to watch out for. 100%. What's your number 2, dog?
It is a weird deck
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
because with Magda, I feel like even if it was just hands down the best deck in the format, that many people still wouldn't have
Because it's
played it.
hard. It's hard to play.
It's hard to play, and not that many people want to play mono
Yeah.
red.
Well,
They like their
Well, I
counter
played
spells.
it and I'm like, all right, I know this is a broken hand. What do I do? And my brother shows me, oh yeah, that's a turn 2 win with 2 pieces of interaction backup. What? I have a fucking battle bus in my hand. What are you talking about? He's like, oh yeah, you win here. And I'm just like, all right.
You need like a printed out primer just to carry with you.
Not even that, because it's like, you're playing Zawa's Justice, some removal spell that fucking discovers, and you're like, what? What is this card I've never heard of? But yeah, it's definitely an experience thing. Like you're like, yeah, Magda's still top 10, but I don't really know. But experience wise, I got this. Magda's fucking
Mhm.
cracked. Top 2. What do you got, dog? What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Roxai.
We got the same number 1 then. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So
Rock side.
for all the bad I said about Roxai earlier, being hurt in the consistency and having a low floor, it still has the highest ceiling
We're
in the
gonna
game.
we're gonna bring
It's
Rockside together, Rockside Brothers.
I don't know, maybe.
You got to.
It'll probably win the boil or get top 4. It'll have multiple in top 16 because there are going to be enough good players playing it that they will high roll
Mhm.
and just win because the deck can
Yep.
do that. And then there's going to be a couple good players on it that just go like 1 and 5 and drop
Yeah, my goal is to win,
because
but I
they
want a top 16 because I've never top 16 event. If I get a top 16, I feel
yeah.
like that deck I have a good chance. But getting there is going to be the hard part. But yeah, if you see 4
Mhm.
rock size in the top 16, it's probably winning the tournament. Because
Probably.
the players, yeah, I'm with you.
Or Sisse is going to make top 4 with 3 other rock sides, and the rock sides are going to like all kill each other, and Sisse is
Or
going to be
they're
like,
just going to help each
actually,
other win, like Rockside does.
yeah. Entomb.
Uh-oh. Well, they're all going to jam against the other Rockside Mystic Remoras.
Yeah.
I'm going to win here. Oh, fuck, I got stopped. That Rockside wins. Shit. Sisei's like,
That's kind of something about rocks I really don't like
mhm,
when I'm playing
mhm,
mid range is you have to mulligan for a fish hand
mhm,
because the game plan of I'm not gonna pay for
mhm,
anything has just gotten into the masses, and every single rock side, regardless of skill, they all play
mhm.
that way now. They just jam into
Yeah,
fish. So you need a
yeah,
fish.
Ori's one of the best Rockside pilots. I talked and he talked to me for 30 minutes, 45 minutes last night on Discord, and we probably went through 10 test hands, and I've been playing the deck all wrong, and I have probably a 40% conversion rate with it. You have
Mhm.
to mulligan aggressively. And once I started doing this, he's like, "No, mull that, mull that, mull that. We're really going to 4. Yeah, we're going to 4." And then it's turn 1 Necropotence, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Like, I've been playing the deck all wrong, dude. This deck is fucking
You're not a
cracked.
true Rogsai player until you've mulled the one and kept Flare of Duplication.
But I am still fairly new. I've only been playing Roxai since post-ban. So I am fairly
Okay.
new with the deck, but I could not agree with you anymore. Roxai's probably top 2. I'm tripping, but Roxai's fucking cool.
It's one of those decks where it's like you could put it at number 1 or like number 8, and I probably wouldn't argue
Yeah.
with you.
As long as it's top 5, I'm not saying nothing. But again, we don't know. It might just fucking get shit on. Or it might be a
Who
fucking
knows?
invitational. It might be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
That's one deck. All the people go, I'm not playing Blue Farm anymore. That deck sucks. I'm just gonna play Roxai. Oh shit. Fuck. My number 2 is Blue.
I mean, it's still true. Rogsai just gets better the more Rogsais there are.
100%.
So
Yep. Speaking of Roxai, my number 2 is Blue Farm. We talked about it earlier. We agree to disagree. I need to see
yeah.
someone take the King's Throne. Do not tell me you think Blue Farm is bad because of this. I need to see Blue Farm in a tournament because if you guys looked, all these tournaments, Blue Farm's everywhere. It's in almost in every top 4. It's won a couple tournaments. Whatever. You can say what you want. I need to see it in action at the Boil. I want to be proven wrong because I fucking hate this deck. I hate when people turn their brains off and just win for no fucking reason and get king made. And that is Blue Farm. They don't do anything all game and they win. I hate this deck more than anything, but I respect the fuck out of this deck, and they need to show me it's not the best deck. If it wins the Boil, I don't want to say I told you so, but I'm gonna be like, damn, all right, now I have a podcast. But hopefully I have enough people and friends that are going. Whoever wins, I can get the first interview with them. They're like, hey man, tell me how it feels. Blue Farm suck? Please tell me it sucks. Oh, I was right. Fuck. Or I'm wrong. TNT's the best deck. Awesome. I love that for the format. Makes me happy. Right?
Yeah.
So number 1, what do you got, buddy?
I think the same as you.
Kennen.
Yenin,
Kennen.
yeah.
Holy shit.
The boy.
God damn. Kennen, dude, I talked to Max. Spoiler alert. I talked to Max on the fucking podcast. And he was like, yeah, I'm fucking pissed. They banned Nadu. I was fucking wrecking with Nadu. He's like, then I realized my baby boy Kennen got way better. And I got happy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, sure they removed Nadu, but your favorite deck is now just tier 0.
You
So
have you I think Blue Farm is probably top 2, top 3, still one of the best decks. What I just said, right? But I think Kennen's
yeah.
in his own tier. I think Kennen just dunked on Blue Farm. Blue Farm got hurt. Kennen got better. And this is a prerequisite, though, guys. In the right hands, Kennen is still one of the most popular decks, and casual players and people that don't play tournaments pick up Kennen and they get hosed, right? But I could not stress this enough. If the guy knows what he's doing, Kennen's going to win the game. And that's what I've seen post-ban.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, the deck is good for all the reasons it was before. The commander makes mana. It's an outlet. It's card advantage. It's everything you want in a commander
2
for
mana.
2 mana.
Oh, you beat me to it. 2 mana. Remove it. Go ahead. 4 mana.
Yeah, they don't care because they just accelerate it out and then they're just gonna recast it if you kill it. It's ridiculous, and it's weird that I don't think Kinnan actually got better. It's every deck got worse except Kinnan.
Okay. Well, I think it got better because the other decks got worse. But yeah, that's like the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
same thing, but
it got hit the least. Mana Crypt. All right, that deck doesn't give a shit.
yeah.
That deck's all about mana. Rockside
Okay,
got
so
hit.
like turn ones are off the table. That didn't really happen that much anyway.
Yeah, but you cast a turn 1 cannon? What's that doing for you? Right? Like you're not
Yeah.
activating it turn 2.
I mean, I've seen a handful of like turn 1 Kinnan where they go like land Lotus Petal Kinnan crypts into Basalt GG. Like that's probably not happening
okay,
anymore,
you can
but that wasn't ever the
you
strength
still
of
have
the
Soul
deck.
Ring though. You can still do that. Right?
Yeah.
You have the nuts. You have the fucking Chromox land Soul Ring Basalt, right? Like I'm with you on that. But I
Mhm.
think with Kennen rewards the better pilots. But now what did Blue Farm do for 3 years for the most part? It just won because all my opponents are bad. right? It just won because it has the most card advantage. It just won because Roxai went for it, and then, like the Invitational, right? Roxai went for it, got stopped because of Bowmaster, and then you got cucked on your Roxai, and then Kennen had no chance to 1v1 Blue Farm. Blue Farm controlled the deck.
Yeah.
So now with Kennen, doesn't have to worry about if you're right and Blue Farm's not that good anymore. It's only a 5 deck, 5, 6, 7. If you're right, then Kennen, what is stopping Kennen? What deck? I I love Magda to death. Good deck. Magda's not touching Kennen, dog. It's not even
Yeah.
Mono Red is not touching Simic. Roxai, maybe Roxai can try to win turn 2 before Kennen sets up. Maybe half the time, right? But Roxai has to mull aggressively. I think Kennen is smiling ear to ear to this ban, and Kennen's probably going to win the boil.
Yeah. And what's ridiculous about it is one of the best cards against the deck is Drannith. You get it out before Kennen, and it's just struggle bus for them.
Yeah, or
But
Bowmaster.
you literally have to be ahead of them on turn order and have
Mhm.
a Drannith turn
Mhm.
1 for that to matter.
Yeah.
Like, Kennen just realistically doesn't care about Drannith because it's unlikely that it comes down
Well,
before Kennen.
also Kennen's the best mid range deck. They want to
Yeah.
go into turn 6. Just
Yeah,
like
it
Tim
has ultimate
Thrasios. Yeah,
inevitability. It just puts mana out and
yeah,
then, we'll activate. Oh, hey, there's a Consphinx. I'm drawing a
yeah.
million cards.
Can
Activate.
yeah,
Oh, there's a Void Winnower. Now you're not playing the game.
yeah, if
Oh, activate, and there's a freaking Wandering Archaic. Now everything you play is mine also.
mhm.
So
Warren K wins games.
once
Yeah. That
once it gets to 8 mana and you don't have an answer, you've lost.
yeah. Well, it's not even that for me. For me, it's like, oh, we stopped him. We just stopped the Kennen thing. We have a Drannith. And they're like, okay, 5 mana, 1 Archaic. 6 mana, Consecrated Sphinx. 9 mana,
Mhm.
hard cast Void Winnower. Holy shit. Oh, I activated. I got a Birds. Okay, next turn. I'm just going to hard cast this Void Winnower. I'm out.
Yeah.
This breach line fucking looks stupid in my hand. Right?
Yeah, Kitten has been the deck I've struggled the most against post-ban.
Me too.
I don't understand how to beat it as in the mid-range
Mhm.
because it just does everything better. It doesn't have the same struggles, it gets out to the gate faster, and it has a just stronger effects in the
Mhm.
mid-game, and it can just win.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like Tim Thrasios is Kennen on crack, but I feel like Tim Thrasios isn't better than Kennen because it's doing other things and it's slower. Kennen can be fast. Kennen can be mid range. Kennen can be stacks. Kennen can go to the late game. All those decks, Tim
Yeah.
Thrasios thrives in the late game. It's not good first 3 turns. We've all seen those
I
Kennen
will say
hands.
there is a downside to Kinnan in that it's just very easy to target. You can sit down on a pod and it's just 3 people that hate Kinnan and they're like, "I'm gonna keep everything possible that can murder
Mhm.
Kinnan." And then the Kinnan just
Well,
has
same
no
thing with
chance
Rockside
because
though.
the
Hey guys, we're not letting Rockside do anything, and then we're gonna play our game. Same with Magda. Same with everything else besides maybe Blue
yeah.
Farm and TNT, right?
I think there's just more generic spells that interact with Kinnan, just like swords, counter spells, stacks pieces.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
Curse
yeah,
Totem
yeah. I
is
got you.
gonna be a thing now. Like, but
Eat your Wheaties, play fucking Curse
either
Totem for
way,
the love of
Kinnan
God.
is just insanely strong.
Yeah, it's like before the ban, it was like, why are you on Curse Totem? Kennen says, hey, that's why I'm on Curse Totem. Right? Like, eat your Wheaties. If you're not using Curse Totem, play that fucking card. Like, that card is like the only card they can't go around. You're good. It's fine. Your OBS looks fine.
Oh,
But
okay. It was like blurry for a second.
yeah,
I was like,
we
what
went a little
happened?
long. We had some technical difficulties, but I'm glad we did this. We agreed on the top end, disagreed with Gitrog, disagreed with Blue Farm. But again, guys, if you
Watch Gitrog win
yeah,
the boil.
if we didn't say a deck, that's fine. We're not the best players in the world. Yeah, he's pretty good, right? But prove us wrong. I'm gonna take Gitrog. I would please let Gitrog win a tournament. I'll fucking eat my
Yes, please,
foot.
everyone bring Gitrog.
I'll fucking eat a foot, bro. I swear to God. Like I would eat the table. I will buy a magic card, light it on fire, and eat it. Whatever y'all want me to do, comment below. I don't care. Bring your favorite deck, and that's why I'm excited. I'm not excited to go against Kennen and Tim Thrasios and Blue Farm, blah 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 blah. No, I want to see the crazy fucking awesome brew, not the fucking stacks. Fuck you guys, but these crazy awesome brews that no one's seen. Like I'm excited for this meta and going forward, right? So That's all the time we have. Thank you guys for listening. This is fun. We're gonna do more. If y'all want to see more top tens, me and Nato might do it every 2, 3, 4 months. Y'all love us disagreeing. He can be my Mr. Freeze to my Batman. I know he's not the best villain. Joker is, but it's fine. I love Arnold. If you got anything you want to plug, Nato?
I literally just watched that
Me
movie the other
too.
day.
Me too. That's why I said it.
Hey, everybody, chill.
Ah, love is my weakness. Yeah, that's so funny. Like I could have said Superman Kryptonite, but I was like, nah, Batman Freeze all day long. You got anything you want to plug, big dog?
Not really. I don't have any content of my own yet. Working on getting
Okay.
that out, but that'll be something for the next time I'm on here to plug.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to put your Moxfield in the link. I feel like you're
Oh,
spicing and you're cooking. Like you guys,
yeah.
I was looking at it yesterday. You got some spice in there. But that's another episode. You guys are awesome. Thanks for listening. We're gonna get off air and argue about Blue Farm and kill each other.
Yep, and thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
man,
It was a
you're
blast.
awesome. Y'all have a good day. See ya.
Bye.